Hello there, good evening. It's 6:30 p.m. here in Accra, Ghana. Welcome to News Tonight here on GHOne Television. We are also live on Facebook, live on X, and live on YouTube at GHOne TV. Now, here's what to expect in the next hour. Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, GHOne, recommends prosecution of trustees of National Cathedral as it clears Reverend Kusi Boateng of double identity. Also, public lambasts Electricity Company of Ghana over 1-month credit purchase directive.
It's going to take a huge toll on customers or consumers, especially in these economic times where people are actually going through it, the economic hardship and all that.
Also ahead, Ghana Independent Broadcasters Association accuses police of overstepping its boundaries in the arrest of a Wontumi FM presenter over misinformation claims. And in business this evening, Ghana Trade Fair Company on course to complete International Convention and Exhibition Center in 8 months. Well, we've got details of these and more in the next hour. Stay with us on the broadcast. Grateful for your company this evening. I am Joshua Kodjo Mensah, and you can find me on social media at _Kodjo Mensah. Let's start the bulletin with insight for the evening. Now, the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, GHOne, has released a close to 200-page detailed report on the National Cathedral project, recommending the cancellation of the contract and possible prosecution of the Board of Trustees. Now, this comes on the back of a petition by the North Tong MP Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa for GHOne to investigate the Secretary to the National Cathedral Board of Trustees, Reverend Victor Kusi Boateng, over claims of conflict of interest, alleged possession of multiple identities, and other alleged improprieties. But after close to 2 years of investigation, GHOne's report has cleared Reverend Kusi Boateng of allegations regarding the possession of dual passports under different names. My colleague Emmanuel Ejabin will be joining, but let's get on the phone lines now and speak to the Member of Parliament for North Tong, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, on this development from the Commission for Human Rights and Administrative Justice, GHOne. Mr. Ablakwa, thank you so much for joining us. So you petitioned GHOne to look into the matters. What's your reaction to GHOne's recommendations, basically?
Well, good evening to you and to all your viewers. The GHOne report raises a number of issues. First, it is clear that the GHOne investigation points to the National Cathedral project lacking all the tenets of due process, of good corporate governance, the respect of the laws of our country. Indeed, GHOne is saying that the procurement laws were breached. GHOne is also confirming that the Central Tender Review Committee, their concurrent approval was not sought. GHOne is saying in this report that the award of the contract to Rebade was done illegally, and that contract is illegal and is void ab initio. Indeed, GHOne is asking the Public Procurement Authority to move in quickly to cancel this contract. GHOne is also saying that this whole National Cathedral project smacks of corruption and corruption-related offenses because of the egregious violations of the procurement laws of our country. So this is a confirmation of all of what we have been talking about. The fact that this project started on a very bad footing based on deception.
Right.
Remember that President Akufo-Addo told us that they were not going to use public funds. This was a private project. They are using only private funds. Remember that President Akufo-Addo said that taxes would come nowhere near this project. Later on, after he was exposed, he said that it was just a seed capital that they were going to require taxes to sponsor. It has turned out that all of those were just blatant falsehood, that this project was entirely a public project, a government project, as Shraj has determined, and that public funds were being used. So when you look at the recommendations on the project, the corporate governance systems, the laws have not been followed. It is clear that people have questions to answer, and it is not surprising that Shraj is recommending the prosecution of the Board of Trustees, except that one wonders why Shraj left it at just the Board of Trustees and did not include the other government officials who masterminded this whole operation, which has clearly become a grand heist, a create, loot, and share scheme. So those are the first set of issues. Then you come to the matters relating to Victor Kusibwati.
And that's where I want to come to, because clearly it looks like you are happy about the recommendations and you feel vindicated about the concerns you raised about the Board of Trustees and the project in itself. But with Victor Kusibwati, you also sought some reliefs there. Well, Shraj's report says otherwise. They did not get any issues of conflict of interest regarding his personality and being two in one and all of that. How does that come to you, basically?
So the Shraj report on Victor Kusibwati, many analysts are wondering why Shraj would do this to its reputation, its credibility. You have Shraj saying that they did not find a second identity in the passport database.
Mm-hmm.
How about the DVLA database? I mean, we attach in our petition different IDs, national IDs, which confirm that he was operating a double identity scheme. He has a driver's license in the name Victor Kusibwati. He also has a Ghana card in the name Kwabena Edujemfi. Then at GRA, he has two things. He's operating two different sets of companies. One, Victor Kusibwati, different date of birth, 7 September 1971. Then when he's Kwabena Edujemfi, is 30th December 1969. Different mother, different set of companies. Why they Shraj just stop at passports? And even with passports, didn't Shraj find it curious that you are appointed as Victor Kusibwati? That is the official name.
Right.
That the National Cathedral was incorporated with Victor Kusibwati. And yet, when the state decided to give him a diplomatic passport to carry out his official assignment, the diplomatic passport that they issued to him came in the name Kwabena Edujemfi. And Shraj is saying that they don't find that strange. So clearly, Shraj, so far as that aspect of the report, suffered credibility crisis. And many people are mocking Shraj this evening because of that whole dent they have done to their reputation.
Right.
Then when you come to the issue of conflict of interest,
yes,
Shraj is saying that they want to go with his story that it was a loan, the 2.6 million transfer was a short-term interest-free loan to the National Cathedral Board. Very, very curious. Shraj itself admits that there was no documentation. They were not taking minutes. There were no board minutes. And Shraj is actually recommending that they all have to go back to corporate governance school. They have to be educated on good corporate governance. So the question is, if there were no minutes, no documents, what is the evidence? On what basis do you then conclude that the transfer was indeed a loan amount which was being paid back? So on the aspect of Victor Kusi-Boateng, Shraj has not covered itself in glory.
Right.
And they are going to continue to suffer a great deal of backlash, and they have themselves to blame. So this really has been shoddy,
right,
and shady,
okay,
to say the least. When you look at the aspect relating to Victor Kusi-Boateng, how they've handled that.
So are you letting that slide? Is that the end we are seeing to this particular petition on Victor Kusi-Boateng?
Can you come again?
I'm asking basically what your next line of action is, or this is just it. This is the end of it.
So my lawyers are studying the report, and we'll let you know what our next steps will be.
Okay.
But for now, it's clear that no matter how you look at it, even with the face-saving attempt to, if you like, whitewash Kusi-Boateng, this is still a very damning report.
Okay.
Kusi-Boateng and all the board of trustees, prosecution has been recommended. They have breached our procurement laws. They have caused financial loss to Ghana. They have dissipated our taxes on this very, create, loot and share scheme,
right,
which has not brought the expected returns. We expect that a project of this nature, due process will be followed, the laws of our country will be respected, especially when it involves the Almighty, it involves clergymen. So there are fundamental issues that have to be addressed in terms of our $58 million. How do we get that money back? All the demolitions that have taken place, who is going to pay for the compensation? Okay. All of these property owners, some are in court, some have written petition that they want compensation. Who is going to pay for that? Okay. It is important that beyond prosecution,
right,
people are surcharged. Those who masterminded this, who have caused this grave financial loss to our country, they must be made to pay for their crimes. At the end of the day, look, the taxpayer has suffered hugely, and we cannot impose further suffering on the taxpayer, that the taxpayer should be made to compensate all those whose properties were demolished. Those who masterminded this, the president and his collaborators, must be made to pay for their atrocities.
Okay. Samuel Okudjo, thank you so much for your time this evening. That's the Member of Parliament for North Tongue. He also petitioned Shraj to look into the issues surrounding the National Cathedral, as well as Victor Kusi-Boateng, Reverend Victor Kusi-Boateng, who was Secretary to the Board of Trustees. But now let's tease out the issues from the findings in terms of what Shraj put in that 200-page report. Now, on your screens now, you can see aspects. It says that the National Cathedral of Ghana did not strictly comply with the rules of public procurement provided for under Act 663, as amended by Act 914, when it purported to select and award the contract for the construction of the National Cathedral to Ribit Limited in the sum of $3.1 million. The contract awarded Ribit Company for the construction of the National Cathedral is illegal and void ab initio. So according to Shraj, it was void from the beginning, from the very onset, because it breached the procurement laws. Now, the third finding would be that the procurement breaches that occasioned the award of the contract to Ribit Company raise questionable suspicion of corruption and corruption-related offences, and that Okudjo Ablakwa actually agrees with. He says the report is very damning. Now, the fourth one is that the fourth respondent, Victor Kusi-Boateng, aka Kwabna Edujemfi, does not hold two different passports, each bearing one of his two names with different dates of birth on each document. There is no Victor Kusi-Boateng in the passport database, contrary to what Okudjo Ablakwa is telling us. It says that the fourth respondent has rather been issued 4 ordinary passports, 3 of which have expired, and 1 diplomatic passport under his name, Kwabna Edujemfi, with the same date of birth. Finally, the 2.6 million cedis paid by the National Cathedral of Ghana to the fifth respondent was a refund, and that's Victor Reverend Victor Boateng, Kusi Boateng, them, that the amount of 2.6 million that was paid was a refund of an interest-free short-term loan granted to the National Cathedral by the fifth respondent. So you can get copies of these documents on starfm.com.gh. You get the full issue or the report that was issued by Shraj on this development. Right, so that's how we end Insights this evening. We're back with more.
GHOne OV van has been one of the best vans I've used personally in this country. It runs a system where we are able to run on Dante to be able to do our broadcast mixed well also from this van.
I've used this OB van for quite a number of big productions, i.e. 3 music awards, the late President Rollis' state funeral, Miss Africa awards, and a number of them.
My experience with the GHOne van has been the state of the art equipment they have. Personal experience is you can use it for both indoor and outdoor, all events, conferencing, like anything you need a van to work for you, GHOne provides it.
My experience with the van has been very good. Why? Because it has a number of facilities that I may not get in other vans. You know, the van has a very wide bench that can accommodate all my technical crew, ICCU, switcher, graphics, CG, and all of that. And then it also has a studio, a green room studio that comes with TriCaster. So if you want somebody to do commentary on a live event, you can put that presenter or who's in that studio as well and get that running.
To give an experience to our audience, we're also watching on TVs and online. Work with an Exo technology system, which makes your video mixing with Panasonic cameras, like a lot of other stuff in terms of content you need to get also for your live broadcasts. I
prefer the GHOne van to a lot of other vans I've used, or even doing my own setup on a tabletop setup, because on a production you see a number of people in the van, and so if you have a very small van, it means that it's going to be choked, and that will affect the creativity as well. The price has been discounted as well to accommodate varied budgets. And so no matter the budget you have, I understand you can have the track and do business with it.
It looks huge, but very affordable. Cost is really, really affordable. My experience with it, EMI Awards last year, super excellent. Try it, call them, and I'm going to give you the best of price. Really affordable.
Thank you so much for staying on with us here on News Tonight on GHOne Television. I am Joshua Kodjo Mensah. Let's move to some other stories. In the Ghana Independent Broadcasters Association has accused the Ghana Police Service of overstepping its bounds over the arrest of Wuntumi FM's Oheneba Esiedu. Now, the presenter is accused of engaging in disinformation about the upcoming polls. Now, Giba argues that the National Media Commission is the right institution mandated to check such alleged offences. It warns that the action of the police could lead to self-censorship by journalists, which could affect free speech. President of Giba, Cecil Sunkwamil, spoke at a Media Foundation for West Africa Forum on peaceful expression in Ghana's 2024 election.
A presenter at a local station was arrested by the Ghana police for circulating an unacceptable video allegedly disseminating some disinformation about election voting procedures. The police have currently cited the Criminal Offences Act as the basis for this arrest. While the content of this video is very concerning, this police action also raises significant issues. The slow and no action to date of the National Media Commission, allowing the police to take the whole reaction in a major media disinformation event that directly oversteps the constitutional mandate of the NMC is troubling. This systematically creates a precarious situation where governments can selectively prosecute journalists who publish unfavorable stories using this act as a tool to silence dissent and undermine media scrutiny. This disparity raises questions about the priorities of law enforcement in media protection, which we should continue to look at and engage to improve. We urge the NMC to seriously assert its constitutional role and leadership in addressing this particular issue, and similar incidents should they happen during this period and beyond. It is essential that they take ownership and drive these matters to resolution as per their mandate.
So that's Cecil Sunkwamil. He is president of Giba. But let's get on the phone lines now and speak to George Law. He's a private legal practitioner and he has joined us on phone for a conversation on this. So thank you so much for joining us, George Law. Now, the contention is that the police has overstepped its bounds as the NMC is the institution clothed with the powers to address such concerns. Your thoughts exactly on that? Hello, Mr. Law, can you hear me? Hello? We'll work the phone lines again and see if we can get a clear connection to George Law, who is a private legal practitioner, so that we can have a proper situation of this particular development, because Giba contends that the NMC should rather take the lead instead of the Ghana Police Service. Let's try one more time and see if we can get George Law. Honorable Lord, thank you so much for joining us. If you can hear me, I'm asking, what are your thoughts on the position of Giba that the NMC is the institution mandated to handle such cases and not necessarily the police? Hello? Okay, well, we'll return to that story shortly, but let's move on to some other stories. And residents of Bola Top, a section of Agbogbloshie, accounting their losses after fire ravaged the area last night. A visit to the area revealed that some of the residents have already begun putting up makeshift structures against the warning by authorities to vacate the area. Obed King Gaglo was there and has come through with this report.
Upon arrival at the scene, these residents here at Agbogbloshie Bola Top were seen busily sifting through the charred remains of their shops and homes, hoping to salvage the little they can. Na, a mother of two who sells beverages in a makeshift structure in the area, says she has lost all her investments.
Mofia motuation wa nana kufado won babofai wole ye ni obaya dia was so far feel for BFN sha won pafai ni e ba ha wo lokofi wo ke so far nu wo ke wa he ko nu wo ke wo da o e bi won pafai.
The fire destroyed numerous makeshift wooden structures which served as both homes and businesses for many residents. These structures, predominantly built with highly flammable materials, offered little resistance to the raging flames. The contents of the structures were also lost, further compounding the losses for affected individuals.
Inflation 6, GHOne 7. 66 when 7, we feel 13. 13 ba and conflict can be a fan low fan. Benisho be an shabiane 6 o'clock, Benimba, and now pink will make a stone. No fear, no fridge can be a fan low fan.
In the midst of the fire is this filthy environment which poses a health risk to the residents. But why are these residents still living in this area?
Yes, it's risky and it smells bad too, but we have no option. We call it ghetto because we don't have money to go to the city, to the township and go and rent. So the house is, cheaper here, and we find it so easy because it's more, easier than to go to the town for accommodations.
While others have begun rebuilding and putting up their structures, others continue to count their losses. While residents admit the area is unapproved for settlement, they want government to help in providing alternative livelihood for survival. For GHOne News, Obed Kingaglo, Agbogbloshie, Bolatop.
Well, quite a worrying situation there. But away from that, a section of the public is criticizing the Electricity Company of Ghana over its directive to consumers using the newly installed NURI prepaid meters to top up at least 1 month's worth of credit. Now, according to ECG, this is due to an upgrade on their systems, which may make it impossible for consumers to top up their credits. But some consumers who spoke to GHOne News are unhappy with that directive from the ECG.
Yeah, I think I use the smart one, the smart meter. Yeah, I think it's going to take a huge toll on customers or consumers, especially in these economic times where people are actually going through it, the economic hardship and all that. So sometimes buying for just a week or two is even a challenge for most people. So if suddenly you are going to endure this as to buy for a whole month, and Christmas time is coming, we have other expenses that you have to deal with, and so if this is an unplanned something that you suddenly have to dig out of your pocket in these times, it's going to be a huge challenge for most people.
Buying prepaid ahead of time, most of the people who are into this kind of business can afford it. I don't see like a lot of people, maybe people who are running big businesses but the other, let's say local people like this, those who don't have, let's say, big business, like African delights, they're not big as compared to places like Alisa Hotel and other places. So I think it will affect us when it comes to, because the system is how will I say it, is aishi.
It's going to worry. Others will be worried. Others will not worry them in terms of financial status of this country and others. So maybe me I can buy, but somebody cannot buy. Some people have been buying 100 cedis 3 days. So such person, imagine 1 month. You see, if you divide it to a year in normal terms now, it's what others.
So yes, a lot of people are not really happy about it. But let's listen to former Power Minister and Member of Parliament for Pru East, Dr. Kwabena Donkor. He is demanding that the Public Utility Regulatory Commission, PURC, call the Electricity Company of Ghana to order.
Yeah, basically, the MPP administration, the current MPP administration, is basically digging a big hole for the next administration, because the cumulative effect of the huge non-payment is that the next government will be put under severe pressure.
Over the weekend, ECG issued a statement asking customers on the NURI meter to stock as much as that can last for as long as a month, because there's going to be some maintenance works.
No, and again, I would expect the media to really take on the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, the regulator, because the regulator can demand from ECG far more information, and ECG is legally bound to provide the information. So I expect to hear the regulator, PURC, speak to this. How many people know the type of meters they even? So why should ECG's maintenance, whether critical or routine, of their meters impact on my ability to buy my power package? And if it affects me, what sort of compensation am I entitled to? What are my rights?
Well, let's now have a conversation with Apia Kusi-Adumako, who is the West African Regional Director of CATS International. Thank you so much for joining us. So really, this directive for consumers on Nuri meters to purchase a month's worth of credit, the public is clearly not excited. Is there disaffection, much ado about nothing, really? Hello, Mr. Adumako.
Hello.
Yes, can you hear me?
Please, can you take your question again?
Okay, so I'm asking, basically, what do you make of this directive and the reaction that has greeted the directive from ECG for consumers on Nuri meters to basically buy a month's worth of credit?
Okay. Good evening and happy evening to all your viewers of GHOne. I think that the ECG first has done well by informing Ghanaians that there's going to be a network upgrade.
Okay.
However, asking people to stockpile electricity for 4 weeks, I think is too much to ask from Ghanaians. We know that there are some people who buy electricity power on daily basis, like the torch. And those people, they have to work today, buy power, tomorrow work and get money and buy power. Those people do not have the luxury, they don't have the space to be able to buy energy and have it for 4 weeks. And so I think that PURC needs to talk to UCG and ask UCG to work very hard to reduce any this interruption to power supply during this system upgrade. And let me say that system upgrade is required of any system. However, asking people to stockpile power for 1 month, I don't think is good.
Really?
And for those who do not have the money to buy the power, what they will do is that they may decide to steal power during this period. And at the end of the day, there will be some commercial losses, and ECG will then go back to PURC and asking consumers to pay more on electricity.
Right. So
largely because of the inefficiency of the operator.
Okay. So you are saying that if this is allowed to continue, it might lead to power theft, which might largely also affect ECG in the long term.
Yes, please.
Okay. So what should be the maximum? Because they have stated that they have to do this because they have to upgrade their systems. So what should be the maximum period that perhaps they should be advising us on?
I am not a system engineer with ECG to be able to give a maximum.
But I'm asking, which maximum time is fair, basically? I know you're not an engineer.
What is fair and reasonable is maximum 1 week. Maximum 1 week. Because look, if ECG were to be the one managing electricity services in London or New York, I'm not sure that they will get the effrontery to tell consumers to buy power for 1 month. I'm sure they can't say that. And so PURC needs to urge ECG to manage every interruption. Of course, this is not the first time ECG is doing system upgrade on its service. And so I don't know why the 9 months, 1 month is required.
Okay.
Even when people are going to the moon, they don't require 1 month to go and come back, isn't it? I mean, ECG can do better than that.
Right. Right. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Adomako, for your time this evening. He is West Africa Regional Director for CATS International, and he basically says ECG should make do with 1 week at least, so that people can be able to get things done. But let's stay a while on the energy sector, because the NPP's manifesto spokesperson on energy, Kodjo is dismissing claims of power interruptions across the country. Now, he is rather blaming the IPPs for breaching the agreement with the government, leading to the current power outages being experienced.
The commercial losses, which is illegal connection, non-payment of debt and all those things, there should have been policies to rectify that. There isn't. There hasn't been. So me and you, the consuming public, do not pay for the full electricity that is generated. And that has been that every day there is accumulation of debt. Tony Asogli is owed money. All IPPs have always been owed money. Tony Asogli decided that because government owes me money, I have a power purchase agreement with government, but at this stage, I can no longer operate while government owes me money, pay me $60 million, or I can no longer operate. They went against the agreement they have with government, which is the power purchase agreement, and shut down. If you've heard the management of PCG over the weekend, he said that, look, the power being generated is to go towards those that are generating it. So they also ceased giving money to Sonia Sobey because they cannot be given when other people generate. They give the money to the person who's not generating. Yeah, we all say that government is continuous. I don't think anybody will intentionally tiptoe around the problem.
Well, away from energy, let's zoom into the arena of digitalization, because the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, has praised the Lands Commission for their commitment to pursuing a digitalization agenda. Speaking at the inauguration of a new office complex for the Commission here in Accra, the Vice President said digitizing their operations not only makes work easier for them and their clients, but that it also helps with dealing with corruption.
The new office complex, of which construction started some years ago, is home to the various agencies under the Lands Commission and is also part of the organization's desire to aggressively pursue a digitalization agenda. Speaking at the inauguration, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia praised the management of the Lands Commission for their commitment to the digitalization agenda.
In today's fast-evolving world, digital transformation is essential for enhancing service delivery, accountability, and transparency. And I commend the Lands Commission for their efforts in this regard. Today, with the aid of digitalization, the Lands Commission has been able to automate land title certificates, which reduces the potential errors that could arise from manual entries, thereby significantly enhancing accuracy and efficiency.
He disclosed that he will introduce a new policy that will help the Commission increase their internally generated funds to support their projects.
Look at what I'm planning to do is to move about 3% of GDP of government expenditure from the public sector to the private sector. And that is about 30 billion Ghana cedis annually in that context. And when we get this done, which we hope to get done in the first budget, that frees up a lot of fiscal space for all agencies.
The Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Abujinapo, who also spoke at the inauguration, praised the Vice President for making his promise to ensure the Commission gets a befitting office complex and reiterated the commitment of government to improve the land administration space.
This ultra-modern edifice stands as a testament to the commitment of the Akufo-Addo Bawumia government to create an efficient, transparent, and accessible land administration system as the pivot for economic growth and development. It will undoubtedly elevate the standard of land services delivery, ensuring that the Lands Commission and allied agencies provide top-notch services to Ghanaians and all those in need of land administration services.
On his part, the Executive Secretary of the Lands Commission, Benjamin Arthur, commended the government for the support in obtaining approval to undertake the 5-year Lands Administration Transformation Project. The project is expected to take off in the first quarter of 2025.
Amen.
Well, it's some 12 days to the December 7 general elections, and we are your election hub. President John Dramani Mahama has pledged to revitalize Ghana's struggling cocoa industry, promising to implement comprehensive measures aimed at restoring its prominence and ensuring better livelihoods for cocoa farmers. He indicated that the incumbent government over the past 8 years has run down the cocoa industry, resulting in production deficits and debt to the sector. He spoke at an engagement with the Western Regional House of Chiefs in Sekondi.
Your cocoa production above from barely 400,000 tons. Now make us simple. Abaya Jessica in advance. I day abrofonica 350,000 tons and Umuntimian Vanco. And Tabain for Fra Ebebano. One Jessica Bian so the car 350,000 tons of cocoa because I'm buying at Jessica in advance. Until next year, cocoa I better no. The suma akutuaka because Omaton in advance I just Kennedy. Nanui or share medium one. The cocoa board budget editorial 3.4 billion cedis on headquarters administration. And they just say Sikani na Omode and a cast a fofro and it's an annual mano and no trap if you have only their eja na watching ama ponkone journey a fair na water ponko baby or Danny friends and ponko bua and I said send your friend bia a fair na water ponkono nedabre and see a fair no more peja price no and so cocoa ni bebre I say every say Emra na yem ma ekwafono nia ewoso omuma omono bebreja omofo nti solely shoot no enesa diseases to be bam nti afi na umutwitwa cocoa ndua no edua no foforo.
Well, wife of the Vice President, Samira Bawumia, has promised to be a lead advocate for the creative arts sector if her husband becomes president. Now, according to her, she spent the last 8 years engaging and advocating for members of the creative arts sector, something she's confident of continuing if her husband gets the nod of the Ghanaian people. Now, she was speaking at a meeting with industry members in Kumasi as part of a campaign tour of the Ashanti region.
But because of my own passion as well, I will be a voice for the creative space. I will make sure, say, yes, mamo biano, yebeye edi mamo. And if you look at the past nearly 8 years, what should be creatives in Kitahua, you would know, say, enye nea, ebiamiku peso di president in Tina. It is something that I've always been passionate about. So I'll be an advocate for the creatives. I will support you. I'll be your voice and I'll make sure that your concerns are factored into nation development.
Well, that's it for the Election Hub. Let's bring you business now. Contractors working on the Ghana Trade Fair Company's International Convention and Exhibition Center have assured of completing the project within 8 months. Now, upon completion, the facility will host international and local trade exhibitions, concerts and other events. This came to light during a tour of the facility by Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia on Monday. Musa Lansa has more.
The Ghana International Trade Fair's reconstruction has been a hurdle to the government from 2017 till now. So many concerns have been raised, and finally the International Convention Center's construction has started. The CEO for the Ghana International Trade Fair Center says they are on track and they'll soon be completing the project.
It occupies a footprint of about 20,000 square meters. The lobby is 5,000 square meters, expansive lobby, pre-event lobby. You can register, you can have a restaurant, you can eat before you go into your event. The event floor itself is 10,000 square meters. It can take up to 20,000 people in any event. You can have a concert here, trade shows here, exhibition, art festivals. These outdoors that you see is all part of the convention center. So there's enough room. So when it's all said and done, we think that this exhibition center will become the trade hub in the region.
She also tells us some of the hurdles they faced whilst constructing this facility from 2017. Issues of COVID-19, issues of getting international partners to come and then be a part of it were hurdles that they had to cross. But finally, all those hurdles have been dealt with and they are back on track.
I think we had maybe 3 major delays. The third delay is not even a factor, right? Getting investors to come on board. That was the easiest part. The 2 major delays that actually set us back was, one, the pre-development clearing. Imagine you come here, there's kiosks, broken down buildings, squatters everywhere, and you cannot move them, right? And everybody is saying, I will move, although they have no legal rights to be here.
Well, as part of his visits to state institutions, the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, was on tour at the construction site of the Ghana International Trade Fair and Convention Center here in Accra. Whilst interacting with the people, he says his commitment is to make sure that the creative arts industry becomes the pivot for the development of this country, and that he's going to make sure there's so much funding, especially with what he says is his removal of 3% of the GDP and then handing it over to the private sector to develop. He says this will help in terms of building more capacity for members of the creative arts industry to take advantage of facilities like this.
I want to take this opportunity to reassure the creative arts industry, because I know, talking to you and what we said we were going to do to build this type of facility, because one of the biggest problems that the creative arts industry has is the space, to actually do shows, to bring in people and all of that. That constraint is real.
This facility is expected to be completed, and from 1st January, the other parts of the master plan would also be in session. For GHOne TV, Musa Lansa reporting.
While still in business, Director General of the National Information Technology Agency, Richard Otrifosu, is urging Ghanaians to shift their focus from relying on foreign technologies and instead invest in homegrown solutions that address the unique challenges and aspirations of the nation. Now, this, he believes, will help improve local talent and provide opportunities for tech enthusiasts.
In a bid to promote innovation and digital solutions within Ghana's tech landscape, the University of Ghana Computing System hosted the 2024 Yango Ghana Data Science Hackathon, an event aimed at encouraging students to develop creative and impactful solutions, particularly in the realm of ride-hailing technology. The hackathon saw teams of students from various disciplines coming together to tackle real-world challenges. Participants were tasked with using data science and artificial intelligence to create innovative solutions that could improve the efficiency and user experience of ride-hailing apps in the country.
Just, feel good from a CSR perspective, but we're creating tangible solutions or solution makers, and that's what we see. It really aligns with our values, and if you look at where we are, right, as a company, present in 5 continents, but we see Africa as our home. And when you see young people such as the ones that we have today, you can see that the beauty of triple Ps really come to play.
Engaging journalists after the event, Director General of the National Information Technology Agency, NITA, Richard Otrifosu, underscored the importance of supporting local innovation here in.
Well, it's time to bring you the latest in the world of sports, and the sharply dressed Benjamin Yamwa is here with the very latest. Benghazi, what's happening in sports?
Well, thank you very much, Joshua. There's bad news for Ghana football as Seydou Ali the GOAT is out for the rest of the season with an ACL injury. Details of that and some other stories coming up in sports, but that will be after this. Let's begin with some news on the local front, where the GFA has announced the rescheduling of the Ghana Football Retreat, which was initially set for November 28 at the Ghana Soccer Center of Excellence at Pram. This follows consultations with key partners and stakeholders who expressed the need for more inclusive and productive dialogue regarding the national teams of Ghana. This one, the GFA confirmed that a new date for the retreat will be communicated in due course. The retreat aims to address concerns raised by members, stakeholders, and the public with the goal of charting a path forward for Ghanaian football for the future. Let's go on to the sad news where Ghanaian defender Alilu Seydou has been ruled out for the rest of the season after he suffered a serious injury during the start against Lille on Sunday evening. The Black Stars right back was replaced after just 17 minutes after landing awkwardly, rupturing his cruciate ligament in the left knee. After several minutes of treatment on the pitch, Senegalese defender Mikhail Faye replaced the Ghanaian, who was later spotted in crutches. Now, the injury means Seydou will not be part of Ghana's squad for the World Cup qualifiers in March and June of next year. As we have told, that he will be out for at least 7 good months on the sidelines with this injury. And that's it for sports.
Many thanks, Benghazi, for the latest in the world of sports. Let's check out what is happening in the world of arts and entertainment. Just few days to elections slated for December 7, politicians in Ghana are being urged to focus more on the tourism industry as a means of attracting investors into the country. American movie producer Angela White, who is in the country to premiere and promote her latest work, 9, told GHOne News that once the tourism sector is prioritized, more movie makers will come into the country. Now, a member of the movie's cast, Chris Atto, on his part also urged his countrymen to prioritize peace ahead of the polls. They spoke to my colleague Zuleiha Nuhu on the sidelines of the premiere of 9 here in Accra.
We're approaching the election. Now, I don't know who's running, but I hope whoever does win continues with the tourism, continues with bringing Americans over here. Because that's when Americans come over here, guess what? They're going to be like, oh, wait a minute, I want to shoot here. You heard how Idris Elba's building a studio out here? Hey, he worked in America first. Well, England and then America. The more Americans come over here, the more they're going to want to invest in the country. Just like you saw when over 500 people just became citizens last week, it's going to continue. America is just not the home for everybody. So people are looking for options. They're looking for dual citizenship. So I think Ghana is already on the map for tourism. Now we just have to do more in the film industry so we can compete with Nigeria and South Africa.
What's up, Ghana? So the elections are close, as you know. Here's a quick reminder to everyone out there. A few days for my movie to come out called 9. It's out on the 29th at the Silver Grand Cinemas. But you know what? I want to encourage everybody. You can't even have a flourishing film industry without a peaceful nation. The elections are coming up. I'm taking advantage to remind you, your vote is your power. Standing somewhere and complaining about how bad it is, it is bad, it's hard, but it's our Ghana. So I'm encouraging you.
Well, it's indeed our Ghana, so let's prioritize peace ahead of the elections on December 7. And that's out of the curtains on News Tonight here on GH1 Television. There's more news for you at starfm.com. The GH, I'm Joshua Kodjo Mensah. Have a wonderful evening.